My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. All right, this is impossible light activity that's on the side of this car. That's not going to occur from these headlights. Okay, this is not the natural operation of the environment This is, first of all, criminal. This is the U.S. military acting via the demon-possessed people of the state. Stalking. I want to be clear, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:22 a.m. And this is Wells Fargo parking lot where this is a demon stalking in the path with light. This is the mentally ill psychopath. This is the murderer. This is the stalker that's conspiring your murder with the entity that's stalking in planes and helicopters, kidnapping you, defaming your character, stalking you in the bathroom. The obsession, the mental illness is all combined when you see this ongoing lurking at night with light. This is impossible light that's on the vehicle. Okay, you're looking at the pattern of the grass while you're looking at that light activity, this grass right here, and it is being projected forward onto which is impossible light activity. This is impossible. And there's also multiple shadows that you can see. Here's one shadow, and then this is the other shadow. This is where the entity is stalking by plane. This is the entity that's acting cooperatively regarding surveillance. This is P.O.C. License plate. Co-conspirator of murder, 5 POB 570. Co-conspirator of murder, 7YFT 402. They're flying over the senior citizen apartment complex. They're doing a cartwheel over the apartments. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. They're stalking me with light at 1 o'clock in the morning, going into Sarah's Regis Group. That entire apartment complex full of the people of the state is being prosecuted. To be stalking in this manner is to prosecute the entire state of California that is sharing in the U.S. military's criminal pattern of conduct, stalking in planes and helicopters, stalking in corrupt ghetto establishments like Wendy's, while they're engaged in things like such as targeted harassment because they're being documented. But as you can see, they are indeed the psychopaths. And they're going to prison for the things that they're engaging in and the things that they say while they engage in them. This is P.O.C. That's demonic. This is demonic while they have the cooperation going on. The U.S. military is maintaining surveillance around me by the people, and the U.S. military is maintaining aerial surveillance together. They're demons. They're not having meetings, physical meetings every day. The entities engaged in what is an ongoing system. Secondly, they are meeting, if you will, as demons that are coordinated. This is demonic activity. They're the demon possessed. U.S. military is going to be prosecuted for treason. This is the city of Ontario that's going to be federally prosecuted. In the city of Ontario, the Ontario Police Department are not engaged in law enforcement. They are being disbanded. This is where the environment is maintaining what is a fake sun rising and setting, including right here at the Ovid Family Community Library and the Sarah's Regis Downtown Ontario Luxury Apartments, where the Wells Fargo is. Fake sun from sunrise until sunset. The entire entity. This is what is requiring martial law. This is what is a threat to the American people. This is P.O.C. They are violent sex offenders. They are keeping your genitalia under surveillance. That's the pattern of conduct. It is currently 1:25 a.m. And while the entity is gang stalking, you are able to see how the entity is stalking is exposing the people of the state, everybody. And the entity, the people of the state that are stalking, is exposing the state. This is P.O.C. All right, I have to capture this. This is the entity's mental illness. This is about the 6th plane that they're flying over with right here. And this is the entity that's, again, engaging in what is a late night trigger fest by engaging in psychotic behavior with the people of the state. They're pacing on Euclid Avenue. This is the entity that's going to be subject to martial law. Their mental illness is a threat to this country. Martial law is absolutely necessary. This is the entity that's doing so. It's after 1 o'clock. It's 2:18 a.m. And this is the entity that's engaging what is stalking me on Euclid Avenue. Ontario police stalking in city-issued police vehicles, engaging in criminal summoning right here at B Street at the El Bacone. While the demons were pacing by plane, the Ontario police were joining in that. And I want to be clear with regard to their mental illness and the mind of the demon-possessed that are a part of the gang of the Ontario police. Those gang members are engaging in what is an act of hostility. While they're exhibiting severe mental instability, they are monitoring. When they're engaging in the light activity, that's a show of hostility. It's a show of what is threatening conduct. But they're actually just gargoyles who are mentally ill, likened to those that eat feces. They're engaged in the criminal pattern of conduct. That's why the impossible light activity is coexisting, where you are engaged in light activity while you're even in a police vehicle. And that is speaking to the fact that you are mentally unfit to be in that position, which is exactly why that entire department is being disbanded. But I want to document that. The mentally ill are engaging in this at 2 o'clock in the morning. This is an entity that is obsessed with me, stalking me in Upland, California. This is what they're doing on the inside of a library. They're pacing all around me, and the fake sun sits over the Upland Public Library all day long while they're engaging in an ongoing ritual worshiping me.
They are both obsessed with me. They're also sexually obsessed with me. They're all perverts and sex offenders, and they're also exceedingly hostile. They would also like to take my life at the same time. This is the unlawful threat that the mentally ill, the homosexuals, the frustrated, closeted homosexuals that are the U.S. military, that are the people of the state, that are the Ontario Police Department, engaged in what is failed witchcraft tactics. Their witchcraft has let them down. It is the basis to have them committed and to criminally convict them, and this is diagnosis by prosecution. This is P.O.C. It is currently 2:20 a.m. I just had to get that because they're engaging in literally psychotic behavior. They're just doing plane after plane after plane. In their sick minds, it's like they are feeling as though they're actually accomplishing something. It's spiritually significant. Again, this is the entity that views itself as engaging in what is witchcraft. They're going to prison. They've lost in the criminal purpose of what they were supposed to be doing secretly at that. All they're doing is, in other words, aiding in my civil suits against all of the entity, every company, all the cities, the state of California. It's an unprecedented civil suit regarding what is bankrupting the state of California that's going to compensate me for engaging in terrorism against me. All right. For levying war against me. The entities engaging in this while they are threatening me with their mental illness and stalking me, criminal activity and facilitation of that criminal activity. And I want to make sure I document in this, the Ontario Police Department doing so right over here at B Street in concert with the military that are stalking right here at using planes. And the fact that they're in this video is the evidence of that, because the airport is already prosecuted by virtue of planes being over the Ontario Town Square. All right. That's something that's going to be recognized literally by things like judicial notice. Okay. There's no takeoffs over here. There's also no takeoffs or landings in Upland, California. This is the entity that was flying over the Ontario Town Square, which is, again, south of this location, while Lupe is gang stalking me and they're flying over Wendy's. This is what they were doing with the Ontario Police Department while they're engaging in that pattern of conduct. This is the entity that doesn't care that the United States knows that they're engaging in war tactics against American citizens. That's going to be relevant to their prosecution. This is the entity that doesn't care that they're exposed as engaging in criminal activity as the people of the state. This is the entity that does not care. In federal court, you're going to see their faces. You're going to know their names. You're going to hear what it is that they say, when they cannot explain what it is that they're doing. It is a matter of judicial notice that there are no planes that are hovering over, including at 2 o'clock in the morning, that are taking off from the airport, meaning this is not a natural, ongoing part of the operations of that airport that is affecting the sky space, creating any public nuisance, any disturbance at the Ontario Town Square. Okay, this is the entity that's engaging in that, and this is the mentally ill. That's the shutdown of the airport, the police, the fire department. The entire city of Ontario, like I stated, is being gutted out because of the tremendous lawlessness, which is a threat to the American people. The city of Ontario is a national security threat. Okay, they are a national security threat, and this is essentially a corrupt business that's going to be permanently shut down and defunded. There will be no city hall. There's not going to be any sort of the Ontario police are terrorists, so it's going to be defunded. They're going to be disbanded. It's the same with the U.S. military using the commercial airline companies, utilizing. They're not even going to be a part of the military. They're going to be committed. They're going to prison. But nonetheless, you're understanding what they're doing and what the resources. The solution is, all of it's being shut down. All of it. The entire operation, which is the city of Ontario gang stalking. This is the P.O.C. So I want to be clear. That was plane number 7. This is what an entity was doing with the Ontario police, who were pacing over here at B Street, while the entity was engaging in what is mentally ill behavior, pacing all around, creating light activity, while they're demons who are monitoring. And they're monitoring me, the one that has already defeated them. I've already humiliated them. I've already made a spectacle of them. I even exposed the fact that they're engaging in homosexuality because they're confused about their sexual conduct, and it actually affecting me while I am prosecuting you in a courtroom. This is an entity that is severely mentally ill. They are incompetent, and they are going to be systematically and publicly removed and treated like the incompetent threats that are engaging in a violent and criminal activity. That's exactly how they're going to be treated. This is P.O.C. It is currently 2:23 a.m. EWF 674 stalking on Vine Avenue and Fern, where the Ontario International Airport, which is the military. Psychopaths that are stalking me as I'm walking down the street through the neighborhood. And at what is also, let me note this, 6:03 a.m., all the images of the license plates that I'm capturing right now
are indicative of the people of the state that are stalking with psychopaths that are using planes flying over the street. This is very mentally ill behavior, and it's really a basis of recovery that the mentally unstable are stalking me in the psychotic ways that they are. This is the evidence that's going to be used to have them committed. This is beyond proving that they're stalkers. This is proving that they are unstable and that they're a threat to themselves. This is beyond a criminal conviction. The entity is going to be subject to mental examinations and commitments. This is the so-called U.S. military and the people of the state as well. It is currently 6:04 a.m. on what is May 15, 2026. I am at the intersection of Vine Avenue and B Street, where the entity is hovering over the intersection. And then you're juxtaposing that with one airport in the city of Ontario, where Southwest Airlines, or UPS, is hovering, flying west, while I am in Upland, California. While the entity is flying over Wendy's in the parking lot and over the AutoZone, which is on the south side of Hope Boulevard, and they're hovering over this neighborhood. This is what they're doing last night when I documented all the demons on what is Sierra and Sultana, between Sultana and Pleasant. They're gang stalking. Those demons were sitting in their cars stalking with the airport. That's why I'm capturing images of everyone that is around me. While you hear plane activity, it's the same audible noise creation, the nuisance maintained while the people of the state are monitoring their stalking. 9XPG 595, 5WFX 625 at 131 North Vine Avenue. The people that are as psychotic, the psychopaths that are hyper homosexuals, are stalking in planes, and it is the evidence that's going to have them publicly exposed as mentally ill, as treasonous criminals, and also those that are to be subject to being committed against their will. This is also to disincentivize betraying the United States and levying war in the psychotic ways in which the demon-possessed have. This is going to disincentivize this sort of criminal activity in this country. When you are stalking as a mentally ill population, that population is going to be subject to what are involuntary commitments, and that is justice, while the entity is going to suffer the consequences of levying war against an American citizen. This is P.O.C. It's currently 6:06 a.m. Stalking at the intersections, license 9 WSC 456 at Bonita and Holt. Where the entity is stalking me up and down the street in planes, you are stalking as they meet you at the intersections. They walk right into the case, exposing themselves as the terrorists that they are. This is the entity engaging in that. Stalking is pursuant to the roads and the highways, where the entity is stalking above me as I'm walking on the street through the neighborhood. It's 6:09 a.m. Arriving at the Ontario Village Shopping Center, where, by the way, just like Lupe at Wendy's already knew who I am and where I was located, so do the demons at the Ontario Village Shopping Center, while an entity is stalking en route to the venue, tracking my steps and surrounding me at all places, stalking on the roads and the highways en route to the venue. And they're doing so while the government is clearly indicating that you are aware of who I am and where I'm located. The fake sun itself speaks to that. This is going to be the basis of having psychopaths conspiring murder involuntarily committed. I'm literally going to use your audible activity, what you said, the pattern of conduct versus what the reality is, and the mentally ill conduct of the pattern of conduct in the first place. This is literally going to be the basis whereby mental health professionals are going to have you committed. This is diagnosis via prosecution. Stalking in the parking lot of the DDs. You'll see the image, stopping, reversing in the DDs. This is the same psychopath that likes to commit sexual assault and battery, and she thinks that sitting in the parking lot waiting for DDs to open is an excuse to engage in stalking with the U.S. military that flies over this parking lot stalking me, and she is stalking with them. License plate 8 David Edward Mary 060. Historically engaging in the pattern of conduct and doing so now while the entity is stalking my planes. Crossing the street with plane activity because they were flying on the opposite side of the street. That's the P.O.C. She's in operation of her device. And this is also Dee Dee's that is stalking in the path as well. This is a Caucasian female at Dee Dee's, which is, you can hear the plane activity. And this is evidence against her co-defendant, Wendy's. Her co-defendant, Lupe, who are one entity. P.O.C. Alrighty, the entity is monitoring while they're engaging in that, and that's the entity flying over my head while you were stalking in the path and doing so with regard to Ontario Village Shopping Center, DDs, who are the corporate entities that. All right, I am on surveillance cameras, as is Isaiah at register number 1, and Lupe, gang stalking upon entrance, and doing so while the entity is, again, stalking into the entrance of the Stater Brothers, which is relevant to bathroom monitoring, the sex offense committed by Stater Brothers at 646 West Hope Boulevard, which is the entity engaging in sexually perverted and sexually motivated means of surveillance, which is also mentally ill behavior. But the entity is doing so with the customers. Just want to be clear, like you can hear, operation of device, pacing out of the venue, which is the demonic pattern of conduct. And this is including the business of Stater Brothers that's engaged in the pattern of conduct. This is already explained. The entity has the fake sun at this entrance from 6 until after 5 p.m., after 4 p.m., as a matter of what is visible evidence for you to look at. So they're monitoring right now, as you heard, upon my entrance. And as I walk out, the demons are literally pacing in front of the entrance, operating their device while the entity is hovering over the parking lot. Okay, so this is what the entity is doing at Wendy's, and I took video of it, and then Lupe is stating, this is the malice behind what they're doing. Wendy's is Stater Brothers. Stater Brothers is Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut is Upland Public Library. Upland Public Library, this is the entity sharing in that pattern of conduct, and they are engaging in that. I took a picture of that. You'll see the demon reaching for a grocery cart as I'm documenting, as though the entity's, again, mindset is that a customer is not gang stalking. The customers are literally the means of gang stalking, as are the employees, as are the people of the state, period, including the business of Stater Brothers. Okay, that's the entity that's engaging in that pattern of conduct, and the entity's engaging in that while they are stalking. This is Stater Brothers that is stalking. Stater Brothers is open for purposes of criminal surveillance, and Stater Brothers is going to be prosecuted for that. All right, but like I stated, Isaiah is at register number 1, where Kia is typically at register number 1, Erica is typically at register number 1, and they have the documented hostile sex offender Lupe, which the entity that's obsessed with me is projecting their obsession with me. So when I document somebody that's harassing me, that harasser will be everywhere where I'm at that venue. And this is the entity that's speaking to knowledge of my documentation. Lupe cares about me. I don't care about Lupe. But I'm documenting the entity that engages in. Those are relevant tactics you're going to prosecute for. It's a means of compensation, and it's a means of the commitment of the malicious that are engaging in the pattern of conduct, which is psychologically harmful. Everything that they're doing is supposed to, this is the purpose of it. I'm breaking it down because they're going to be committed by it. They're going to be federally prosecuted for it. It's criminal activity. This is the entity levying war against American citizens, psychological war, and also physically attacking you, stalking you, threatening you, harassing you, kidnapping you, defaming you, stealing from you, stealing your identity, engaging in that conduct while they are stalking you in places such as a bathroom, which is an absurdly psychotic means of stalking someone. And that's exactly what the government is doing. And they do this in furtherance of murder, meaning this happens chronologically before they murder you. You're going to be prosecuted and committed with it. License 7 Charlie Kelly Sam 778, stalking with light. License 8 Edward Yolanda 240, stalking with light. Stater Brothers at 646 West Hope Boulevard, stalking with light. 70 Wendy Frank 998, stalking with light. This is a Latino male that is engaging in surveillance in the parking lot. And this is what they're doing on the street in the neighborhood of what was that, Sierra and Sultana last night. So they were already all in their vehicles. I'm walking down the street through the neighborhood, coming from the library, walking on, that would be B Street, adjacent to the City Hall in between the Ontario Town Square. The entity is flying over, by the way, this is informing you, so that is east of this location where they're still hovering over the parking lot, and Stater Brothers employees are acting in concert with that entity that's maintaining. The noise is relevant for their monitoring. The noise is occurring while you are admittedly not maintaining any takeoff from the airport. You're not headed to a destination. The entity is stalking by plane, and you are stalking together as an entity that's walking in and out of the entrance. And this is supposed to maintain the appearance as customers. They are customers that are stalking, and that is Stater Brothers that's stalking. But nonetheless, the entity is at what is Sultana and Sierra, and they're all in the dark, coming out of their homes, sitting along the street, Sierra, stalking. And that's why when I take a picture of a vehicle's license plate, the vehicle lights up and their lights are becoming active. They were sitting in the dark stalking.
So meaning you were sitting there already when the entity hovered over the street in that neighborhood. And you were sitting there in anticipation of me to walk past, to walk down the street, because you don't know what I'm going to do before I do it. Okay, so you are doing that as an entity that is stalking together as a neighborhood. And then I'm going to Wendy's that's engaged in the pattern of conduct, and that's proven by the military that flies over Wendy's and military aircrafts, and also in commercial airline planes with the same level of noise activity that it is west of Wendy's, which is here at Stater Brothers. No change in elevation, no change in the noise creation, because they're monitoring. The noise is relevant to what is criminal monitoring that Stater Brothers is being prosecuted for. So the entity's engaging in that, and then you're engaging in the pattern of conduct, and you're claiming that you did not know. It's already unintelligent what Lupe said. You can hear what she's stating, that she's lying. She said the store was closed at 9:30. It's not closed at 9:30. And then they start talking about Ontario police when she's realizing that she's lying because she's nervous and she shouldn't have locked the door, and the store is not closed at 9:30. But then she said she already answered, no, you did not answer the question. What she said was that the store is closed at 9:30. If it's closed at 9:30, why did you just let me in? And if it's closed at 9:30, why are you helping the people at the drive-thru where they're getting service as well? You're not treating any source of service differently. And if it's closed at 9:30, why doesn't it say that on the signage at the door? So I wouldn't have a question, and I would expect that the door is locked. The entity's engaging in this while they are gang stalking. What Stater Brothers is doing is documentation evidence against Wendy's, against Lupe, while they are engaging in the same exact identical pattern of conduct, okay? The entity's engaged in vagina monitoring, and they're doing so while they are under all what is already the evidence of the fake sun. The evidence of the entity stalking by helicopter, flying in circles over me, literally at this venue, remaining for the duration of the day, the fake moon at night, stalking by planes and helicopters, simulating what is blatant stalking because there's no landing over the El Pollo Loco onto what it would be, what they're based on what they're doing, like they're landing on Bonita. This is all the absent entity that's on the record while they're pacing in and out making purchases. This is Stater Brothers that's going to be exhausted financially and prosecuted criminally, and this is relevant for what is involuntary commitments. Okay, that's P.O.C. The license plates that I read are standing outside gang stalking now. They're doing so with the military that's sounding plane activity, and I'm on surveillance cameras while the entity's engaging in surveillance inside of the grocery store. P.O.C. And it's currently 6:29 a.m. I just wanted to break that down regarding the context of what I'm taking pictures of and what the entity is doing in the name of Stater Brothers that's going to be prosecuted for it. Alrighty, and Stater Brothers' criminal activity is evidence against Wendy's. The name of the venue is a minor detail. It's the government's pattern of conduct that Wendy's and Stater Brothers are sharing, and this is how the demons engaging in that criminal system is used against all of them in the same exact manner. Alright, that's the P.O.C. It is currently 6:29 a.m. at 646 West Holt. That's Stater Brothers inside of the Ontario Village Shopping Center. Alrighty, just another note regarding surveillance that's underway at venues such as grocery stores that are a threat to the American public as I'm prosecuting the people of the state, which includes Stater Brothers, and venues of the like that serve or provide what are products that you consume. And this is affecting your health, this is affecting your well-being, such as 7-Eleven, places where I'm buying for Pizza Hut, Wendy's, even though that's fast food, and then also but more like grocery stores where you're purchasing, because I'm going to point out a pattern that I've pointed out before, that I've documented before. But grocery outlet, see, food for less. Of course, there's a lot more. Like I shop at Whole Foods, but that's not in San Bernardino County at all. So I'm talking about those that I have specifically documented. Any grocery store, any name. It doesn't matter the name. I'm showing you the pattern of conduct, and this is applying universally. Now, those that I have documented include grocery outlet, food for less. They include the grocery store that I'm inside of right now, Stater Brothers. And I took a picture of a product that I purchased, the grape tomatoes. And this is the first time that I bought it, okay? This is a product that remains full at all times. I come by, look at it all the time. I thought about, trying to eat healthy. Like, man, I should buy that, but I would never buy it. And it never was, it was always there every day. I would look at it every day. And this is months, okay, of looking at cherry. They're called actually cherry tomatoes. So anyway, I purchased them several days ago for the first time. And I am taking one from what is a full inventory that's on display.
And then from that day on, after I made that purchase, and I documented walking north of San Antonio to Upland, California. This is the population that is stalking, that is monitoring, that's obsessed with me. And their obsession is also shown through the entity that is stalking and monitoring the products that I purchase. And after I purchase a product, that product is immediately unavailable upon going to return to purchase it again. I documented this. For example, the last time I documented this was Chevron at 506 North Euclid Avenue, engaged in the pattern of conduct. Engaging in the pattern of conduct just the other night regarding Ontario Police and the Ontario National Airport, while German, this is an employee, a candidate for deportation as well. As I'm walking from Upland, California, the entity is engaging in ambush. So the demon pulls up to the gas station and aims their light on me while the demon of Ontario Police gets out of the vehicle to throw something in the trash can. This is pacing at the same time that the demon in the sky space in a commercial airline plane is targeting by even being in that location and hovering and sounding plane activity while I'm targeted with light activity, relevant positioning, pacing, while the demons are pacing up and down Euclid Avenue. And this is what they're doing while they're gang stalking you. This is a ritual that they're engaging in while they target you before they murder you. This is the Chevron where the fake sun is present over me from the hours that my evidence shows from morning until evening, which is impossible that that would ever be the case. This is proof that Chevron is engaged in the criminal conspiracy, both the corporate entity and the people of the state that work at that venue and consume at that venue. And they're consuming at that venue, meaning buying gas, going inside to gang stalk, period. Because that's what the evidence is superseding. Every aisle, I needed to go there to buy you're going there gang stalking, period. And that's exactly how the law is going to treat the U.S. government's pattern of conduct. It's surveillance underway by the entity. So nonetheless, I documented this and I bought coconut flavored water, a specific brand. And again, nobody ever... Okay, you're talking about what is a totally full inventory. I come up with the idea to purchase it at Chevron, okay? And even their business records is something that would reflect this, but nonetheless, it's totally full. I buy one, I go return to purchase it, and it's totally out of stock. This is the population that's obsessed with me and their obsession, and also the criminal purposes behind that as a means of identifying targeting. And the entity is engaging in that P.O.C. I wanted to document that. This is what the entity is engaging in with regard to the people of the state that are psychopaths that are claiming things like, oh, I didn't see you standing outside. This is the type of things that you're juxtaposing with the spirit of Satan, that is the spirit of mental illness. And this is mental illness that you are identifying contrary to the illusions of the corrupt entity that practices medicine, and that is perpetuating a false narrative regarding keeping the mentally ill, who are the entity that's engaged in this criminal surveillance system in the U.S., contrary to those that are not mentally ill whatsoever, that are literally advanced, that are an exception because they're not demon possessed, they're not demonic by virtue of who they are, their identity, their personality, and also spiritually because they're monitoring you. They know that Satan doesn't have a hold on you, so they know who you are as well. But this is, again, spiritually attacking you in the physical, okay, by the targeting means of defaming your character, diagnosing you with something that you don't suffer from, that doesn't even apply to you, even attacking you and defaming your character by virtue of your spiritual gifts, like stating that you're a paranoid schizophrenic because you can discern spirits. Something like that is what Satan would engage in when they are literally actually plagued with the spirit of paranoia. That's why they accuse me of things that they don't have any evidence of in the physical. That is literally the evidence of paranoia, while the entity sought to defame my character, but I'm speaking in terms of those of you who are witnessing, while you intended to defame, they intend to defame your character by gang stalking you because you're not supposed to have evidence. So when I'm doing the exact same thing that you're doing, you're not monitoring me and I'm not documenting you. You're not monitoring me, therefore I'm not aware of anything happening because you're acting like it's not happening, therefore it's not happening. So what are you accusing me of? What are you talking? When I'm doing the same thing that you're doing, they're embodying that paranoid spirit, which is actually what they are. Paranoia is a demonic spirit, okay? That's the spirit of mental illness. The malice, this malicious conduct, that's demonic, okay? The entities engaging in this pattern of conduct, and they are exhibiting the mental illness, they're embodying it, they're exhibiting it, while the entity sought to defame my character, and they intended to do that by literally making it up. So because you don't have any evidence of me ever
having a public crash out, just going off on people and hitting people, and I'm making accusations that I don't have any. They don't have that happening. It never happened. The entity engaged in targeting me in a way that I understood from the outset. You have to prove this with evidence. There's not even any point in addressing it, and you're not going to talk to any of them about it. And this was based on the criminal conduct at Tracy Banks. This is the demons are very unintelligent. They showed me from the beginning what their purpose is. So when your mom is all of a sudden calling you crazy, when I'm the only one that has higher education, I'm the one that's writing all of your letters to your employers, I'm the one that you're calling when you need advice about what to do regarding this issue in your life or this issue in your professional life, I'm the one that you asked to read over something that you wrote in order to edit, provide you some expert level syntax. I'm the one that you reach out to, and all of a sudden I'm mentally ill. Okay, that's the P.O.C. So the entity is engaging in that level of conduct, very malicious, and that's because I am able to identify what my relatives sought to keep concealed from me. The fact that they're demons and they were targeting me. All right, and the moment that you become aware of that, you're a threat, and immediately, oh, they're mentally ill. Literally, that's the course. That's the baseline. That's the default. Okay, classic P.O.C. So this is what you're looking at. Oh, no, I didn't see you. But this is the level of surveillance, the level of obsession with me. Not only did you see me, you're obsessed with me. You are monitoring my heartbeat while I'm walking on Hope Boulevard en route to that venue while you're stalking me with the U.S. military that's providing evidence that is showing the exact opposite reality. And you will be prosecuted with that contrast and evidence, what you say versus what you're actually doing. And that is absolutely knowable, provable. So the entity's engaging in that. This is what is going to be the basis of what are involuntary commitments, based on what is the actual legitimate practice of medicine. This entity that's engaging in surveillance has engaged in targeting through the corrupt practices of those that are unfit to be in the medical field and that have used the positions that they are in. And this is by design. Satan has demons in the medical field. In the U.S., this is what they're doing while they're perpetuating false narratives such as it's climate control, global warming. That has nothing to do with the fake sun. It's not the natural environment. That's not even the sun. And they intentionally did not have NASA speak anything about it. Okay, NASA is a joke. All right? As is the United States, that's shown to be stalking everybody. The United States is a stalker. That's pathetic. The U.S. military, a bunch of homosexuals, they're violent criminals who are engaging in stalking. The most pathetic type of role that you could be relegated to. You're supposed to be the U.S. military. You're supposed to be the beacon, the height of what is a leader, right? On the international, they're nothing. They're nothing. I'm showing what are pathetic psychopaths doing cartwheels, stalking somebody. I'm, first of all, looking at the surface. All right, if you're paying attention to my evidence, you know that it is not what it appears to be at all. This is a product of targeting. But on the surface, I'm leaving outside. I'm collecting what are government assistance. Why are you stalking me? Why? Why are you stalking me? You would like it to be the fact that you don't even notice me, that I'm that insignificant. That's what you would like to convey, right? I'm nobody to you. You don't even notice me. I'm the last person you'd be concerned about. Why are you stalking me? Because you are stalking. All right, the entity betrays itself with its own pattern of conduct. So I just want to document that. This is the ongoing pattern as I purchase things. The demons that are obsessed with me, that are stalking, which is a matter of proven evidence, they are also obsessed with that which I purchase. And after I purchase it, it is gone from inventory immediately after that purchase. And this is the pattern. And this is the entity that's also engaged in what is poisoning me. Okay, so this is P.O.C. I wanted to document that. This is at Stater Brothers. I did take an image of it with regard to the inventory that's totally unpopular, not touched, literally collecting dust over here. Okay, the tomatoes sit here, they go bad. You have to throw them out and sell more. The moment that I purchase it, they're all sold out. At least that's what the entity is stating, because they very well inside of the Stater Brothers are the ones that are taking them off the shelf. But the entity works together. So in order to, on the surface, they're maintaining records of what's happening. They will definitely have the demons come in and purchase them. But they're the same entity. It's just like the illusion that's created before you, before your eyes, regarding the demon that's in the police uniform and the demon that's in the other vehicle that's being pulled over. But they're actually together gang stalking an American citizen. Okay, so this is the store versus the customer. They're both together gang stalking the targeted individual. And they are together engaged in the U.S. military's pattern of conduct. Anyway, I just wanted to document that. It's currently 6:49 a.m. This is P.O.C.
All right, Stater Brothers, it has its own line of orange juice. They don't keep it displayed, and which causes me to, let's see, request, let's see. Oh, thank you, Matt. You have one here? Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Excuse me, thank you, sir. This is requesting, you too, have a good day, Matt. Requesting the orange juice, Stater Brothers, that they don't have on display, but they do have available. Now, this is the same venue that's engaged in poisoning my products. So the entity that would come in, they're gang stalking, so they're buying they're at risk of being poisoned as well, unless they know the products that they are targeting me with, and also, or they're just buying it, they're not even consuming it. Also, the third option is that the entity removes the products that I typically purchase and I request them, and that's how they're able to give me those targeted products. Whereas when I'm not in the store, then they are showing that product on display for anybody to come and just purchase if they want to. But I just want to document that this is another tactic. I'm sharing everything because this is informing what's going to happen in the country, and the ways in which those of you who are subject to targeting regarding what is a system of surveillance and all of the casualties within criminal surveillance targeting you in every regard, targeting where you eat, where you live, where you work, as you travel, targeting where you remain, like as I'm remaining in a library, they're even stalking there. The fact that you're being gang stalked where you are on public transportation, this is speaking to the things that you need to be aware of, and the entity that's engaging in what are acts of desperation. They're not intelligent or tactical. They're merely desperate and extreme, which is dangerous, okay? But it's not clever. They're not smart. I'm informing you about all of the tactics that you could be mindful of, and this is also something that you can use to give you a general understanding, and this is teaching you how to navigate. You walking with Christ, the Holy Spirit will give you leading and guidance, and this is information regarding arming you with the tactics of the enemy. And in other words, there is no circumstance where you should be comfortable and where you should be feeling, oh, well, believe me, I've tried it. I'm like, oh, well, no, they wouldn't do that. That would be, and they are, and it is that desperate. Okay. The U.S. military is under no circumstances stopping engaging in what is, you're going to be prosecuted as the military in the United States for engaging in war against an American citizen. They very well know that it's also over. This is why they're steadily trying to attack my social media. This is why the Ovid Family Community Library, for example, engaged in a desperate act, a Hail Mary act. Oh, we're just going to make up an event and state that something in the past is what we noticed in your social media after nothing happened. You're going to have something. What is it that drew you to how did you learn about my social media? Because you're targeting by virtue of the fact that I don't have 2 billion subscribers. My name's not on my social media, and associating what is the pattern of conduct. It's not under Erica Spencer. What is it that while you are, again, on the surface, not one that I'm informing you about, oh, you know, I'm publishing on the website, on the internet, on YouTube, who I am, and the fact that your gang stalking me because they're acting like it's not happening, and I'm acting like I don't know, I'm not subject to anything, the game that they're playing, and I'm going to prosecute them for their mentally ill pattern of conduct. That's how that's working. This is the entity that's engaging in public corruption. Okay, so and that's a form of what is torture and inhumane conduct. The fact that you can't report overtly in plain language that you're being targeted. You have to be subject to it in order to prove that it's happening. Okay, this is a sick entity, and they're going to be prosecuted for that. It's literally working against them, the way in which I had to go about prosecuting them. But nonetheless, the entity is engaging what is admitting, and it's an admission while you have to make up nothing happened in the bathroom on March 2nd, but yet you're just picking March 2nd, because that was the last time that I was in there, and then you're pulling a random date, a video that I published on the internet, while I am, and nothing in that video that you're referring to is incriminating. None of it's criminal, and nothing that I'm doing, go ahead, nothing that I'm doing, let me get out of this aisle, nothing that I'm doing is criminal, and I didn't all of a sudden, why would I be putting my own criminal activity on the internet? I'm maintaining an investigation about what the entity is engaging in, and like I stated in my social media on X, monitoring in a bathroom is something that's so absurdly psychotic, it's something that is so unheard of, it can only be proven by documenting it. For you to even understand what I am talking about. That is not something that you just think up on your own. Okay, so this is an entity that is sick,
And they're engaging in that conduct. And while I'm documenting that, just like with anything, you are not the criminal while the entity is targeting you. You're not the pervert. It's always the entity that's sick that seeks to project that. That's that same demonic spirit. Excuse me, if you don't mind. Thank you. Nonetheless, this is Open Family Community Library, in other words, this is an act of desperation. They're very fearful. I'm heavily documenting them, and I'm still documenting them while I go to Upland, while I went to Fontana, while I go to Pomona, everywhere. You're going to prison. While I'm in Starbucks or while I'm not in Starbucks, you're going to prison. There is no way to get out of the P.O.C. In fact, while you engage in those methods of targeting, criminal summoning, kidnapping, harassment, discrimination, like the city, you're going to prison, fool. You're going to federal prison. So what is an inevitable prosecution as a terrorist for treason becomes what is mandated prison time. This is obstruction of justice, and it's a threat to my life, especially while these psychotic homosexuals are stalking me in helicopters and military aircrafts and keeping things like a fake sun. They're psychotic over me while you're stalking me. So the entity's engaging in this sort of conduct, and they're keeping these sort of tactics with regard to targeting you. And this is something that you are just being made aware of. And this is just to open your mind regarding what you need to be aware of, because it can, as I've shown you, it can be executed in a manner, a plethora of different ways with regard to targeting. Okay, so this is just opening up your mind, and I've shown you and I've documented many methods of targeting. So the entity is very much desperate. The entity is highly unintelligent. The entity is numerous. So where you have 25 people that have succumbed to the same defeat, I documented, I prosecuted you, you lost. There's always another demon, another idiot for the team, and they will run toward that precipice and plummet to their death. That's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with the dead. So if you picture in your mind the living dead, all of the dead people that are, a whole field of them, okay? A whole field of dead people, and they are engaging what is pursuing that which it's not going to work, it's not going to be accomplished, but the dead still persist. That's what this is. Okay, but this is the thing, they're doing it in the name of businesses I'm going to prosecute. Now you're losing a lot of money. You're going to pay me a lot of money, okay? Your business is in jeopardy, meaning I'm actually going to put you out of business. I'm going to criminally prosecute that name. I'm going to drag that name in a criminal court. It's not just going to be civil damages. You will not exist as a business anymore, because this is different territory. This is terrorism. All right, so this is the entity that's in a whole other field, and they are, again, they're so ignorant with regard, because they're unintelligent. So this is a field that they're in, the arena that they're in now, they're still ignorant about it. They still don't get the arena that they're in. But nonetheless, I am speaking to inform the masses about the tactics of a venue such as a grocery store that's engaging in surveillance, ways in which they are targeting a population that they are seeking to murder. Okay, the targeted individuals, those of you, we are all under surveillance, and the entity is engaging in targeting amongst that surveillance system. Okay, and so gang stalking is occurring where you're being poisoned. Gang stalking is occurring where you're being kidnapped. Gang stalking is occurring where you're being maliciously accused of things that you did not do, while the entity is engaging in what is harassing you, while you're subject to anything, because it's surveillance. There's no random robbery. There's no missing persons. There's no unsolved criminal cases. This is surveillance. All the illusions are gone. There's no illusion. There's no question. There's no ongoing investigation. This is an ongoing system. That's why the U.S. exists, so that people across the globe can come into the United States and participate in keeping us under surveillance. This is the entity that's going to be federally prosecuted for treason. And these psychotic homosexuals that make up the U.S. military, that are not the best and the brightest in the world at all, they're engaged in what is providing this ongoing tutorial of how they will stalk you and target you in the face of being proven as such. There's no mystery about whether I'm being stalked by the military, by the people of the state, by the city, by the state of California, and they're doing it in front of you. Okay, so there's no question here, and there's not going to be in a courtroom any illusion either. It's not going to be a matter of, well, we have to prosecute and prove. It's already known what's going on, and they're going to be in court treated in that manner. This is not taking away your right to a day in court either. This is the court case. The federal government is watching it being executed. They have already rendered a decision, by the way. They're literally waiting to be raided. They're waiting for martial law to rain down on them. They're still engaging in it until that last second. That's how psychotic they are. I just want to be clear. And that is informing you. That's letting you know about the type of predator you're dealing with. It is Satan, who knows that his time is ticking, and he will continue until the day that the Lord God executes his judgment. And he knows exactly what it is. He knows where he's going. So he's just using up his time. That's what the demon-possessed are doing. All right, that's what you're doing, because you're not accomplishing anything gang stalking me. You're not getting any dime. You're not, they know how it ends, and I know how it ends, and you know how it ends. So you're talking about what are businesses that they've sacrificed. They know that they're going out of business. They know that they're going to be out of business when I get done with them in a courtroom within four walls, because they're in my courtroom right now. They're in a courtroom right now. They are before the world. You're witnessing a public exposure, and it is the criminal case that's necessarily happening on the worldwide internet. Necessarily, because it needs to be known across the globe what's happening in real time, not only for my protection, but in order to prove what the U.S. government is, what the U.S. government, what the American, so-called American people are engaging in. What's the purpose of this country? And it's a massive humiliation ritual. These are a bunch of demons that practice witchcraft, that engage in taking people out for money, sacrificing people, murderers. And then maintaining the illusion of the Constitution and privacy and being a leader in freedom across the globe on the international scene. It's a joke. It is, and it's not a funny joke, but this is the reality. This is why an American citizen like myself can document what the U.S. military is actually consumed with. They're spending a lot of money and power while they're simultaneously talking about war. All right, they're talking about what's going on in Israel and what's going on in Palestine. So why does the U.S. military have time to be stalking me in Ontario to Upland? They're assigning a whole airport. This is an illusion. Distractions. These are distractions. They're very much engaged in what is targeting those that are exposing the reality of the dead, who are the demon-possessed. Alrighty, and also maintaining illusion behind what actually is the purpose behind them going into foreign countries, what is actually the issue, what the U.S. is actually engaging in, contrary to what the U.S. is claiming that their interests are and what they're engaging in. All right, but nonetheless, I just wanted to go over that. Keeping products off of the shelf, products that they are likely tampering with, while the people of the state are also gang stalking me and purchasing these things. And then as I request them, giving those tampered with products to me. And then again, once I'm gone, because this is an entire entity, once I'm gone, all those tampered with products are put back, waiting for the next time. And they know, because the entities gang stalk me en route to the Wendy's, en route to the library, en route to the grocery store, en route to Vaughn's, wherever it is that I'm at. Whatever. This is the entity that's maintaining surveillance. This is the entity that is, again, Vaughn's, Stater Brothers, grocery outlet, 7-Eleven, wherever it is that I'm going, in other words. Those are merely, it's like Tom, Jerry, and Bobby, and Mickey and Jane. They're all this, under the pattern of conduct, they're all the state. They're just going by different names to create the illusion that you're dealing with different people, which is only surface level. They are all embodying the same exact purpose and criminal intent. That's what the P.O.C. is exposing to you. It's the U.S. government going by the name of Stater Brothers. It's the U.S. government going by the name of 7-Eleven. It's the U.S. government going by the name of, while they're sharing the pattern of conduct. And I'm going to prosecute you while your gang stalking co-defendant is speaking to the fact that you know exactly who I am and where I was at, and that you're a psychopath engaging in that conduct, and you're also an idiot doing it in the face of evidence. That's speaking to a level of incompetence that is irrelevant to what is mental illness, a threat to the public. And that same mental illness is what will also take your life and look straight at you like, I don't know what happened to that person. I have no idea. That will harm children and lie about what happened, and lie about not knowing what happened to that child. That will engage in what is stealing from and engage in acts of fraud and crimes, stating, oh, I don't know. I have no idea. This is exactly the material that engages in it. That's the type of material that you're dealing with. And it is psychopathic. And they are all testifying to what they are sharing in the state's pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. It is currently 7:18 a.m. The entity is monitoring while I am on the video of the internet, which they've already shown you, because that's why you have what are planes in the parking lot.
So when you're walking by inside of the grocery store, it's already known that you're a criminal that's monitoring, and you're a weirdo, right? You're a weirdo stalker that's engaging in surveillance in every area of that venue, including in the bathroom. And the entity that is humiliated by that truth is the one that engages in harassment. But they're engaging in stalking inside of buildings, which is psychotic. And the reason why they're doing that also is because they're demons. This is P.O.C. It's currently 7:18 a.m.
Grand check. Thank you.
All right, this is the use of the PA system, and they use the store alarm, while you will see in the images at 7:24 a.m. pacing by two demons at the same time in the opposite direction in aisle number 1. Okay, it's simultaneous with my use of my device. Very demonic, very psychotic. These are the demons that are poisoning foods that you consume. This is Stater Brothers engaging in the pattern of conduct, and this is the venue where the entity is stalking right now with the U.S. military that's flying over the venue, flying over the parking lot, maintaining massive surveillance. These are all demons, okay? And this is why it is a threat to the public that the demon-possessed maintain businesses like grocery stores where they are engaged in mass production and distribution of foods that are tampered with while they're engaging in surveillance of this psychotic level, okay? But you will see the male walking toward me, walking away from me. You'll see both of them, their backs toward me. They're pacing. And they do so while the entity's at the same time having the store alarm going off. And the fact that they're doing that with simultaneity to the operation of my phone is the evidence of their mental illness, their demon possession, okay? This is very sick conduct, and this is the entity that's engaging in stalking under the fake sun. That's the ongoing context regarding the purpose, the lack of coincidence while they're engaging in the P.O.C. with the demons that engage in pacing and plane and helicopter. Blatant stalking, I'm showing the entity engaging in it, and this is inside of a building, okay? But that's what I took a screenshot of it because my storage is full, so you're gonna see I open up the camera, but I'm still capturing the images of what they're doing. They're pacing, and audibly the store alarm's going off, and they're doing it while they're monitoring my phone. The moment that I am uploading onto the Google Drive, the manager is making an announcement. The store alarm goes off. The demons are pacing in aisle 1 on both sides of my person. And this is the store where I've already shown you the impossible light activity fills the venue. This is P.O.C. Very disturbing. These are the type of things that you need to know. The entity is very much indeed engaged in surveillance, which is proven while they are targeting even through the products that I purchase. And also engaging in what is mentally ill behavior. The mentally ill are a threat while they are maintaining businesses like what Stater Brothers is doing. The mentally ill are coming to join in on that pattern of conduct. It's just a superficial distinction where the demons are coming and making purchases and the demons are employed at the venue. It's very superficial. It's all the U.S. government. All of them are the entity. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that's going to be prosecuted. As I break that down, I'm going to prosecute the corporate entity, Stater Brothers itself, because this is psychological warfare. This is relevant to sexual violence. This is committed with a level of impunity that you're going to compensate for, and you're also going to be criminally prosecuted for. This is relevant to mental illness. Involuntary commitments shall result while the entity engages in that pattern of conduct. It is currently 7:27 a.m. This is P.O.C. at Stater Brothers. That was a psychopath stalking. That's why she screamed for no reason. License Charlie David Thomas, 5208, Arizona. That's plane activity. Surveillance in the parking lot. Black Honda Accord. Latino male. License plate. 9 Uncle, Indiana, Yolanda, 739. License 8 Charlie Zebra Nancy, 960. Taking pictures of the people that stayed in the parking lot, and they're in the grocery store engaging in exactly what it is that I'm dictating, using the PA systems, monitoring my device and monitoring my physical movement, literally monitoring as I change a course of thought process. They're demons, and that's psychotic. Now, that mentally ill entity is operating a grocery store. They are poisoning the public that they are keeping under surveillance. They're also engaged in what are sexually violating you. They are engaging in surveillance with the U.S. military that's stalking me. They're stalking you at the grocery store. There's no aspect of life that is not under surveillance. And they were pacing in the grocery store, using shopping carts in aisle 1, at the same time that a demon is using the PA system to monitor my device. There's no warrant or probable cause that exists for that level
level of surveillance by the government in concert with the robots that are the demon-possessed people of the state. This is the P.O.C. What you heard in the background, that was a demon that was screaming, "Hey!" She was creating activity. That was a demon, and she knows that my phone is in operation. Okay, that's the pattern of conduct. So this is giving context regarding what I was documenting inside of the store. They are literally engaging in mentally ill behavior, and they are engaging in mentally ill behavior because this is human beings that are engaging in demonic behaviors because they're engaging in criminal activity, which is surveilling you. They are engaging in surveilling you in the environment that I've exposed to you, the specific environment where they are stalking, not living and minding their business and not engaging in anything constitutionally protected under the fake sun or in the engineered light. Okay, because that's occurring under the nightfall. The engineer light is still present. The fake sun is just showing you that they're all stalking me, and they're psychotic. They are demon possessed. They have the spirit of mental illness, the demon possession itself. And this is directly contradicting the demons that are practicing medicine. And they're specifically doing that pursuant to the criminal surveillance system that this U.S. that targets American citizens, that keeps the people of the state under literally spell work to maintain control over them and to target people like myself. They are the mentally ill, and they are the ones that are gang stalking, and they are also identified under corporate entities. Literally, as far as the prosecution goes, I'm going to be a serial killer in the courtroom. Okay, this is P.O.C. It is because these companies are not only not going to exist, they're going to compensate me, and then they're going to die. Speaking as a means of what is a corporation, they're going to die with regard to my having exhausted everything. Where they cannot survive, and they won't survive with regard to the reputation internationally known as terrorists. Okay, this is P.O.C. It's currently 8:22 a.m.
All right, that's plane activity. I had to take the headphones out in order to pick that up, but I'm at the Ontario Town Square. The images that I'm capturing right now of relevant positioning by Bear. This is the third party that is stalking in the path with light. They're monitoring with the U.S. military. This is reflected in the images captured. They're gang stalking with the people of the state that are engaging in surveillance at the facilitating venue at 218 C Street. The serial stalker that's engaging in the pattern of conduct. They're engaged in what is stalking as I'm going from now the Ontario Village Shopping Center, Stater Brothers, to the Ovid Family Community Library, where that pattern of conduct is underway. The entity maintaining light activity, stalking in the path in concert with the U.S. military that maintains conspicuous surveillance, such as the commercial planes, and inconspicuous, such as the military aircrafts that appear as stars in the sky, that are flying at a heightened elevation inconspicuously. The entities engaging in that pattern of conduct with the people of the state that are stalking with light, the corporate entities that are maintaining commercial vehicles as light activity, such as what the city of Ontario uses. That's the funding of terrorism, for which Paul Leon is going to be federally prosecuted, and he's also being removed from office while he's a co-conspirator of my death, my murder, while he's also what is a paid criminal monitor, which is a stalker. He's a paid stalker for my murder. He's literally going to be prosecuted based on the level of criminal engagement in the pattern of conduct by Paul Leon and the City of Ontario and the Ontario Police Department, etc. It is currently 8:52 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, the elderly, those that are legally qualified as senior citizens, 55 and older, are violent sex offenders, and they're the demon-possessed who are engaged in the criminal conspiracy to murder in concert with the U.S. military, including while they are walking, limping, dragging themselves around in this specific environment. They are equally monitoring, and they are equally a threat. Remember, it's not actual fear. I'm not fearful of a 60-some-year-old psychopath like Tracy Banks or Jose that's gang stalking me in the bathroom on the opposite side of this wall. The entities engage in that which is creating reasonable fear, because the U.S. military is conspiring your murder while gang stalking you. The entity has engineered light in the bathroom where the City of Ontario is surrounding with light activity.
And sex offenders are pacing in and out while they're monitoring my vagina, and they're engaging in that where the U.S. military is shown to be engaging what is stalking in hundreds of aircrafts over the senior center. That's why they're engaging in that pattern of conduct, okay? Entering and exiting with regard to pulling down my panties, doing so in the engineered environment. These are the senior citizens that are violent sex offenders over the age of 55, so let that resonate in your mind. The entity, that's Satan, that doesn't have a race, also doesn't have an age group, and it's even more creepy when it's got wrinkles and liver spots, and it's monitoring your vagina. This is the P.O.C. It is currently 9:31 a.m. Bathroom monitoring.
All right, this is exactly what the entity was doing last night while I'm in this same parking lot, stalking at Bethel Congregation, which is a point of in this environment, 536 North Euclid Avenue. That's exactly what they're doing. They're maintaining presence of the path, walking to the parking lot is crossing path. 8JJH216, 8 Sam Bob Charlie 817, going to a vehicle in my path is light activity while the entity is stalking me in planes. That's the U.S. military that's targeting with the people. The entity is engaging what is making a U-turn in relevant position, stalking with light. These are demons. All right, the entity is engaging in that while I'm inside of the venue, and the entity is stalking in a military jet, and I walk downstairs after being surrounded by demons in a fake church, and the demons are on Euclid Avenue, stalking in their vehicles in the parking lot, in alignment to me as I exit this parking lot. That's the entity that's engaging in the P.O.C. It's speaking to what fills this building on Sunday mornings, but you already know that because the fake sun is over me, while the entity's monitoring my vagina and stalking in helicopters. This is P.O.C. This is the entity following from the Ontario Senior Center, Civic Center area, into the city of Upland. Okay, that's the P.O.C. The entity's engaging in that. I just want to be clear. What you're doing with regard to what is a function of the city, the municipality, such as criminal monitoring, this is the entity that's going to be defunded. You're engaging the criminal system in furtherance of murder, and it is funding terrorism. Everything that the government is using, including the senior center in the city of Ontario, shall be a basis to defund. You use the senior center, you gang stalk with the senior citizens, you will also not be remaining in any position to fund that. This is the basis of the criminal conduct of the people of the state. So you'll go hungry. And the elderly that are gang stalking will be without any sort of senior center, which they clearly don't need because they're engaged in this. This is not flying anywhere near the senior center, by the way. But the entity that's flying over the senior center is the entity that's going to be defunded regarding terrorism, which is the senior citizens that are engaging in criminal surveillance. Going into the bathroom where the entity is flying over that parking lot, which is what I documented. This P.O.C. and that psychopathic pacing while they're engaging what is repeating, what is the obvious engagement in stalking. That is not any takeoff, and they're proceeding much more west when they're engaged in the same thing over the Stater Brothers parking lot. Okay, while I'm at the senior center, they're flying over the Ontario City Hall parking lot. That's the removal of Paul Leon from office. And this is speaking to the evidence. Like I said, you're going to prison while you're gang stalking me at a fake church with the entity that uses helicopters, with the entity that bears weapons and guns. And if you think that you're in a building that says church on the outside and you're going to be subject to different treatment under the law, you are not ready for the consequences of domestic terrorism because you are going to prison. This is the P.O.C. And this is the inevitable engagement in criminal activity that will result in what is the prosecution under federal law. The entities engaging in treason in the fake churches in the same way that they're engaging in treason while I show you the fake sun over a police department. That police department that's going to be shut down as I've documented it. They're engaging in the pattern of conduct. Alrighty, it is currently 10:56 a.m. The pattern of conduct is treason. P.O.C. These are demons that are just surrounding, going into the parking lot, surrounding on the side, doing a U-turn, accessing your vehicle, stalking in the sky space. P.O.C. Alrighty, Adam Tuckerman engaging in terrorism with the city of Upland and facilitating that while the patrons, who are the people of the state, are welcome inside of the Upland Public Library, which is the city of Upland as well, a facilitating venue, which is hosting the criminal pattern of conduct in concert and on behalf of the U.S. military. This is gang stalking, and this is the government that is hosting gang stalking, and this is violence that the population is participating in, is engaging in, and is facilitating the government to maintain
So these are the mentally ill that you'll see in the images that fill the Upland Public Library. And they're all sitting in what is a gray colored environment because I documented the fake sun over me in the morning and in my entrance and in the evening upon my exit. And the mentally ill engage in what is covering up the fake sun as though you have a short span of a memory, and then as though it's like they feel like they're restarting again. Or once I go into the building, the fake sun begins shining. Nonetheless, these are the demons that are covered, cloaked in what is nothing other than evidence, and they are surrounded with that evidence in order to prosecute them as terrorists. The entities engage in this from the city of Ontario to the city of Upland, where the identical pattern of conduct is underway, and just like the Ontario Senior Center that's engaging in terrorism, there will be a defunding of what the government is engaging in to engage in the criminal pattern of conduct and further into murdering someone. Terrorism is being funded while the city library, while the city hall, while the city employees are engaging in the pattern of conduct, and they will not be paid terrorists any longer. This is the entity that's engaging in criminal summoning upon my entrance, which is also how you know that they're all mentally ill and their purpose of being here is me. And that includes the employees, Alyssa, Alan, Elizabeth, that are some of those that are crossing path as I see them, engaging in the entity's tactic regarding psychological torture. The entity is going to be involuntarily committed while they exhibit mental illness as a population, practicing failed psychological torture tactics, which I use to inform you about the tactics of the U.S. military that is levying war against American citizens. Okay, this is the P.O.C. It's absurdly mentally ill that a population agrees together to engage in this conduct, the pattern of conduct, and this is exactly what they are doing. They are the demon possessed, and they are the violent sex offenders maintaining surveillance on behalf of the government, and they're supposed to be cloaking themselves as something other than, for example, a military person or the police officer, something that you would otherwise associate with, oh, that's an official person, that's a they are all the state. All of them. And the entity filled the library with amplified audible activity of sirens, and they're going to be prosecuted like the terrorists that they are. They're going to be in court lacking any legal argument, and the employees are subject to federal prison. So this is the self-destructive, self-detrimental, suicidal behavior of the entity that's already surrounded with evidence and has no actual purpose regarding an objective, and still gang stalking the federal prosecutor, literally the reporter, which is my role. This is the entity that's engaged in that, and that's because they are also mentally ill. Alrighty, but this is the entity, the city of Upland, that waits for me to arrive, stalking me in furtherance of that pattern of conduct. And my arrival is greeted with what is an act of terrorism. The mentally ill, such as COLLIN, SHEEHY. The mentally ill, such as MARCELO, BLANCO. The mentally ill, such as the homosexual stalking in military aircrafts and commercial planes in the city of Upland, which is making very obvious that the city of Upland is a gang stalker. Nonetheless, the entities engaged in that while I am the one that they are still worshiping, pacing in and out of doorways, pacing inside of the venue, pacing under a fake sun that they're embarrassed by, and so they cover it up the next morning. The mental illness is not cured, okay? It remains there. This is getting to what is psychopathic, such as Lupe at Wendy's, stating that she did not see me through the clear glass door. While you are stalking in the path, engaging in the pattern of conduct with the U.S. military that's flying over the building, that's the psychopathic threat to American citizens, okay? And it's filling the Upland Public Library right now. I have arrived in the city of Upland. It's currently 12:02 p.m. The entity, that is San Bernardino County. That's American Medical Response. That's the Upland Police Department, the city of Upland. Bill Velto is engaged in all of the criminal pattern of conduct that the city of Upland maintains. He's not remaining in office, and this is a prosecution of that entire corrupt entity and all means of funding terrorism, such as the city library, such as the city hall. They're going to be defunded, and they will not be operating anymore. And this is going to be martial law that's going to literally crash down on the entity. But this is P.O.C. This is what they're engaging in. This is what they're obsessed with. This is what they're continuously engaging in. And it is a tutorial for the world. Okay. It is 12:03 p.m. This is P.O.C. All right, you will see captured in screenshots the ongoing federal stalking conduct that the criminals, the people of the state, are while they're engaging in federal stalking. Federal stalking just requires them to be present, maintaining ongoing noise while they are under the law stalking and engaged in what is federal stalking on the venue of the internet. And they're also doing it for a criminal purpose of obstructing justice That is, the psychopaths who are mentally ill, the people of the state that are gang stalking, they don't want you to get information about their mental illness and their criminal activity pertaining to them gang stalking, trying to murder an American citizen. And that is what is relevant regarding the city of Upland, engaged in what is an ongoing pattern regarding interfering with internet activity, which is relevant to the engineered environment that is the Upland Public Library, that is the city of Upland. That is, again, maintained by literally the demons who are the people of the state, maintaining light activity, directly impacting access and operation of internet. I did capture that on screenshot so you can see. This is the entity engaging in that's the significance of the public nuisance regarding the sirens amplified in volume inside of the library. This is the entity that's engaging in what is the providing a body of evidence to train you on the demon possessed that are keeping you under surveillance, that are keeping you and your devices and your internet usage under surveillance, so that you are not ignorant about what you are being confronted with regarding the government. The people of the state are the public entity. Now here you have Joy and Alan. You have what is under all circumstances at all times Adam Tuckerman, and the employees, those that are here right now, are who I am referring to. And the entity is engaging in what is I don't want to say turning off, but interference with the router, the internet for the city of Upland, while I'm inside of the Upland Public Library, is maintaining what is intermittent access. And this is while I am uploading the podcast, of course. If I were accessing pornographic material, this is an entity that would not be threatened by that, and I would not have a problem actually accessing it. The entity is engaging in what is monitoring evidence against itself while simultaneously maintaining the criminal pattern of conduct in furtherance of murder. And it is in furtherance of murder to interfere with internet access, that which is relevant, key, necessary in order to publish that information where a public investigation is underway. This is relevant, in other words, to time in prison that the terrorists that are employed at the Upland Public Library are going to be subject to. Remember, this entity committed kidnapping, and this is relevant to impunity, which is directly relevant to time in prison for the employees at the Upland Public Library. I published on X yesterday, for your viewing ability, the series of occurrences regarding the failure of the internet Wi-Fi access. It's not failure, it's relevant to monitoring. That's why you have the environment, which I show you. That's why you have the environment, which is also the public nuisance, amplified plane activity, helicopter activity, sirens, while the entity is engaging in what is then cowards that are stalking, just don't want anybody else to know about it. Very psychotic, severely psychotic, and none of them are staying in position, and this is terrorism that's going to be defunded. But I want to make sure that I include this regarding the cowards that are gang stalking, and this is the end of gang stalking. Gang stalking is only successful when it is happening secretly, covertly. Once you are aware that you are part of, quote unquote, the Truman Show, where you are under surveillance and everyone is watching you, and maintaining the illusion that you have privacy and that it's not happening, and that is psychological torture also, while you are questioning your sanity, because that's what you're supposed to do, and everyone else is acting like they're oblivious to you, and also engaging in directly defaming you, while they are absolutely not just concerned with you, not just stalking you, but monitoring your genitalia. That's how much they are very much engaged in targeting you. The entities engaging in that pattern of conduct while they are maintaining the P.O.C. and then engaging in what is surveillance on the venue of the internet. And that's what's relevant regarding the very poor internet connectivity. It's not a failure in any internet where the entity is maintaining surveillance. Surveillance is remaining underway. The entity is affecting the communication devices that we all use regarding connectivity to that internet, which is federal stalking. It's criminal conduct. And federal stalking is serving a purpose, a criminal objective. It's within the criminal conspiracy to commit murder, which the U.S. government has already proven it is acting in furtherance of with the people of the state. This is what the evidence is showing regarding, I want you to see what I'm uploading. While the entity is engaging in what is ongoing monitoring, the demons get up and out of their seats, come in and out of the bathroom, walk in and out of their offices while they're monitoring online, and interfering with what would otherwise be a rapid upload, okay? And also disconnectivity regarding what is the entity that is, well, you're only doing that because you're scared of the evidence. You're still stalking like a coward. You're mad about how you're described, which is bearing reflection. It's direct evidence regarding what you are based on what you are doing. But yeah, you don't want it to go on the internet. This is relevant to the involuntary commitments of the entity that is being federally prosecuted in front of all of you. This is P.O.C. It is currently 12:46 p.m. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. This is the entity engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet, which is the UPLAND Public Library, where the entity is repeatedly connecting and disconnecting the internet, doing so in the venue where I have shown you in here that the entity keeps a fake sun from the time that I enter until the time that I exit, which is what I documented yesterday. The entity is engaged in harassment. So the demons that are going to prison, it includes Joy, Adam Tuckerman, the demons that are engaging in pacing, the demons that are engaging in what are stalking in the path by being in relevant position here. This is Alyssa. She's a gang stalking employee. Engaging what are pacing in and out of these venues over, well, this is a venue pacing in and out of the doorways. Those are the employees that have access to that. And the entities engaged in what is interfering with the internet. Okay, so when you see the purpose that I listen to, because demons are stalking with noise, they are blocked out. The entity that's engaged in what is harassment is interfering with the internet in order to harass me with the amplified noise of demons pacing in and out of doorways. This is how the surveillance on the internet is coinciding with what is surveillance in relevant position. These are tactics regarding what are going to be involuntary commitments of psychopaths like Joy, whose office is in the path. She's gang stalking. She's engaging in what is very heavily documented psychological torture, which is going to put her in prison. She's documented engaging in that with the people of the state who are stalking in a venue that's associated with the government. This is the city of Upland. The entity's engaging in what is repeatedly interfering with this Wi-Fi network, where the entity's maintaining criminal surveillance violation of Title 18. Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. While the Wi-Fi signal doesn't change, I am becoming increasingly connected and disconnected, which the entity is controlling. They're doing so now in order to engage in what is showing themselves to be psychopaths, vagina monitors, who are also engaging in what is stalking with noise while my vagina is exposed. That's the entity that's interfering with what it is that I'm listening to in order for me to be harassed with the ongoing amplified sound of doors slamming while they're stalking with audible activity, which is mentally ill behavior. This is also mentally ill conduct by the entity while I document this. And this is what you need to know is associated with a whole department under MARCELO, BLANCO, a whole department under Daniel Muncie, the vagina monitors that are the San Bernardino County Fire. This is the entity that is engaged in this pettiness regarding what is worshiping me. This is how much of a focal point that I am. You also know that through the unnatural environment, such as the fake sun that remains over the roof. In fact, while the entity covered up the fake sun over me into Upland is also evidence of them worshiping. Why do you know that? Because the sun would never be over me while I enter this venue at 10 o'clock and still in alignment while I exit this venue at 7 p.m. But that's exactly what the evidence shows. This is P.O.C. This is relevant to time in prison and involuntary commitments. That's P.O.C. It's currently 2:17 p.m. This is documentation of harassment and psychological torture. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. You'll see the images of the fake sun that is present over the top of my head while Adam Tuckerman, who's monitoring the evidence. So this is decisions that he's making to engage in terrorism and harassment and furtherance of my murder with the ongoing pattern of conduct that he's engaging in while the fake sun's over the Upland Public Library. Hi, I have a quick question. Are you guys aware of the issues with the internet? Is there a problem with the Wi-Fi?
I don't. What's it doing on your end?
I'm just on YouTube, so I'm just so you know what I'm doing on the internet. I'm like accessing videos. So when I am like trying to go through videos and look for something to watch, the Wi-Fi turns on and off on the laptop. It says connected, then it says disconnected, and then I was also looking on my phone, and it was saying that the one time it said IP address loss. It says, and then there's times when I'm connected on my phone on the Wi-Fi, but the laptop is disconnected. So I'm not having the same experience regarding connectivity with my device and the laptop. And I was having this problem yesterday. Are you aware?
Let me keep an eye on it then.
Oh, okay.
I want to keep an eye on it, see if I'm getting the same thing.
Okay, so the city of Upland didn't say anything about the internet having an issue?
No. So I'm wondering if we may have just discovered it.
Oh,
okay. So I'm gonna keep an eye on it on my phone, logged into the same one you're logged into.
Right.
You know, the same Wi-Fi.
Oh, because you probably have other ones that you can log into.
There's like a city one also, which
I'm on the
Upland Public, the only one I can access as
Yeah.
a.
So
Yeah.
I'm on that one, and it's good this second, but I want to keep it on
Yeah.
so that
It keeps going on and off. That's the only reason why I said something, because if it was just like a couple times, but it keeps going on and off and on and off and on and off. So.
Okay. Let me keep it
Okay,
on
so
it,
you
and
don't know
then-
anything about it then? Okay. I just
like
wanted
I said,
to
we may
ask.
have, hopefully, fingers crossed, it was real quick. But if not, then I'll let them know, and then that way they can troubleshoot it from their end.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Tuckerman.
No problem. Thanks for letting us know.
No problem. That's criminal summoning. That's a psychopath. That's Lupe saying that she didn't see me through the glass doors of the Wendy's while she's stalking in the path in concert with the U.S. military that's flying over the restaurant. This is the entity that's engaged in that pattern of conduct. He's doing so with minor children. The engineer light that you see on the walls, that you see on the floor, just want you to pay attention to the impossible light activity. This staircase is flat on the ground. That's impossible light activity, and her shadows appearing on the his shadows appearing on the ground. That's for purposes of monitoring with Adam Tuckerman while they pace in and out of these doors, monitoring me on my device. And as you hear the sirens under what is a fake sun that is remaining here, this is where it's at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it is, by the way, 3:51 p.m. Adam Tuckerman is mentally ill. He's demon possessed. This is the same pattern of conduct that's shared by Joy, Carissa, Kiki, Alyssa, Elizabeth, the entity that's maintaining surveillance as employees. Adam Tuckerman is a psychopath, and he is gang stalking, not differently or distinctly. This is the entity that is maintaining, I'll give you one more vantage point. This is the entity that's maintaining the fake sun that you're looking at while I'm on video right now. While I'm capturing video right now, the entity has the fake sun that is moving. You saw it in this window, then it's moving to that one, and you're looking at a shadow of an upright staircase flat on the ground. It's demonic, but the entity is nonetheless maintaining that that environment and what is the presence of the light. So you can see right here, this is the same window where I'm showing you in the morning at 10 o'clock. Okay, so this is the fake sun that's moving as I move. While you see it at the edge, it's not on that side of the building. Adam Tuckerman is monitoring me and furtherance of murdering me, and he's doing so while they're engaging in surveillance. They are the people of the state that are only here for gang stalking me with the U.S. military. Okay, that's the P.O.C, and that's also why the entity amplifies helicopter activity and doing so with sirens. And I want to be clear, the flagrant engagement, the impunity that I'm documenting right now, such as sirens sounding while this psychopath is looking at me in my face and stating that he's going to look into it, which is audible activity while he's monitoring as well. He's keeping my vagina under close surveillance in concert with minor children, but he's also doing that while the entity sounds sirens because they're very much hostile to what I'm publishing online. Very much hostile and fearful. This is the behavior of Satan. That is a spirit. And when Satan is fearful, this is informing national security. Okay? The mentally ill that are engaging in surveillance in the United States engage in acts of violence while they are opposed to, defiant to what is exposure and what are federal laws that are going to change the way that their existence is going to occur, how it's going to be in the country. This is relevant while they're engaging in this iteration of what is harassment while I am merely publishing the evidence. This is mental illness, though. The disingenuous audible activity creation under the fake sun, this is mental illness conduct. Okay, to me, this is conduct strictly indicative of the severe mental instability. The sounding of the sirens in the background, this is all malice. It is 3:54 p.m. while I'm standing at the entrance of the Upland Public Library. The entity has the fake sun over me before 9 o'clock in the morning, doing so while maintaining the fake sun over me as I documented inside of the Upland City Hall yesterday. There is no iteration of the natural environment where there exists that Adam would be walking on what is sunlight on the floor, nor the staircase appearing flat on the ground, their shadows appearing flat on the ground. That's a diagonal trajectory, and then you saw the fake sun that's over here, but that engineer light remains on that staircase. Adam Zuckerman's a demon, okay? And he's going to prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently 3:54 p.m. The entity is engaged in that. So is Carissa. They engaged in kidnapping. In 2022, there's no statute of limitations, and there are also no statute of limitations because they're still monitoring right now. Okay, and that's engaging. They're stalking in the path, making sure every corner is covered, making sure that there's no position that I can go to where there is no person present and the engineer light. They do that with minor children. They pace in and out of the bathrooms, making sure that they maintain activity. They engage surveillance in the bathroom in doing so. Surveillance is also accomplished by just staying in the bathroom and waiting for me to arrive, okay? This is the pattern of conduct. This is mentally ill behavior because they're pacing. And the context is the engineer light. These are mentally ill minors and mentally ill adults that are all demon possessed, engaging in the pattern of conduct. Okay, context is that the fake sun is not at the same time over the Ovid Family Community Library, which is also what the record shows. This is getting to who was going to prison, the psychopath that is Adam Tuckerman, a sex offender that I am professionally dealing with, which is necessary because he's threatening my life with the U.S. government, and that's also why he's going to prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently 3:55 p.m.
Entity that is stalking and flying right over the library. There you go. That's the U.S. military, by the way. Doing the same thing in the morning while this fake sun is still over me at the same Upland Public Library. They're flying right here where you at. You can see where I'm at. I'm at the Upland Public Library. This is necessarily engineered light because the sun would not be in a position to be coating the same property. The presence of sunlight is speaking to the presence of the sun, but the sun would not be present at the same location where I'm even documenting the city of Upland, which is gang stalking with the U.S. military, which is shown as the pattern of conduct under the fake sun, showing that I am in fact the specific person. It is unequivocal and unambiguous scientific evidence regarding the fact that the U.S. military is targeting me and that the city of Upland is engaged in that criminal conspiracy to murder, which is why the city of Upland is gang stalking, evident through the fake sun that is here in the morning. For example, when the city of Upland is gang stalking and the entrance door is open at 10 a.m., when the fake sun is here and I am inside of the venue where this fake sun that I'm looking at is over the roof. So again, that's the same analysis, it's not moving. While I'm inside and I'm comparing it to what Hernandez is doing at Superior Grocer in Ontario, California, during the 2 p.m. hour, he's going to federal prison. All right. This is the entity that's maintaining that engineered environment, speaking to what is also a threat. This is a threat to me. While it is remaining over me, it's also an ongoing basis to recover because this is literally a battery harming my skin, engaging in what is creating tremendous discomfort while the entity keeps a fake sun over me. It's also psychologically harmful while I'm even documenting the pattern of conduct, and I'm always aware that the entity is stalking me while I look at this, which is not the natural environment. The entity is going to be subject to federal prosecution for all of that. That's relevant to what is levying war. Remember, Article 3, Section 3 is speaking to levying war, and this is the U.S. military that will be federally prosecuted for levying war, psychological war. An actual war by stalking me in helicopters, with planes, with a population of people. Okay, let me open this back up so you can see that. That's what's relevant. The U.S. military is stalking by flying over, and everybody inside, including Andy Tuckerman, that's monitoring my vagina and harassing me through the people of the state that go into the bathroom stall yelling at the top of their lungs as though I'm supposed to be petrified. Instead of stomping them out in the bathroom, I'm going to document because Adam Tuckerman, it is more satisfactory. It is better for the benefit of the rest of the world because this is beyond a U.S. issue. This is about treason. This is about what the U.S. military is doing and the people of the state are doing to those outside of the United States and what those outside of the United States are doing to American citizens within the United States. Adam Tuckerman is going to prison for it, okay? But this is relevant to what is stalking in the bathroom, which is what I'm documenting on the Google Drive and images. This is relevant to what is gang stalking me by helicopters and by airplanes, by commercial airline companies that are maintaining traffic, by the people of the state who are psychopaths, the demon-possessed, driving under the fake sun. They're very much engaged in that intentional and malicious conduct while they are called stalking in the path. That's what the demon-possessed do. Only demons could conjure up this unintelligent, unpersuasive, demonic imitation of what the Lord God has created. The entity keeping it over me, as I have documented the asininity of the fake sun, which is scientific evidence to protect American citizens and protect those around the globe, enforcing your right against the U.S. military, the United States government that's targeting you, as I am prosecuting the entity for targeting me. This is the Upland Public Library at 6:19 p.m. The entity has the fake sun, so let me show you this. This is impossible light activity on the inside of the venue where the fake sun is. It's impossible because, first of all, sunlight is not going to appear on the inside of this building like this at all. The sun is above us. The sun is not creeping sunlight around corners and reaching underneath covered structures that would require shade. Okay, it's also impossible because the sun that is here in the morning is not going to still be at the same location to create any sort of sunlight. It's covering everything because everyone is monitoring and everyone is a demon and everyone is a state actor as well. They're not private citizens.
This is stalking and harassing me while you are engaging in that pattern of conduct. And they also do so as psychopaths who are engaging in passive-aggressive, micro-aggressive. And remember, that's no small thing when a population is engaging in that behavioral pattern. That is terrorism. And that is the criminal activity of the U.S. military. All right? Stalking in the bathroom is proven under the scientific evidence of the fake sun that's remaining over the venue where everything is serving surveillance in that environment. That is also why the U.S. military is stalking me, flying over the building where surveillance is underway in the bathroom of that venue. All right, just to let you know, this is the fake sun that's over my head inside of this Upland Public Library at 3:47 p.m. It's 6:21 p.m. and I walk outside of the same building and it's in alignment to me still. This is the entity that is stalking, and this is the supernatural occurrence regarding proof of stalking. And it does not change when the demon-possessed, who are inherently inferior, are covering up the fake sun, which is informing you regarding the environment that we're in, which is not a natural environment. And none of these are actually natural people. These are demon-possessed people who have positions like in the U.S. military, like in law enforcement, like in the firefighting industry. And they're engaged in surveillance. And this is going to have tremendous implications and repercussions regarding levying war against an American citizen and maliciously doing so as the cities throughout the state. Okay, this is the pattern of conduct. The fake sun is still here over 3 hours later, or approximately over 2 hours later. That's equally impossible. Here's the inside of the same Upland Public Library at 12:45 p.m. where the people of the state are demons engaging in surveillance, using their communication devices, harassing me in a passive-aggressive manner, targeting me and what it is that I'm doing on my device by mere use and presence, even use of their communication devices and presence, getting up and engaging what is pacing in engineer light. They're not walking, they're one entity pacing, and this is mentally ill behavior. This is the fake sun that is over me at 10 o'clock in the morning when I am outside of the same entrance doors that I am at right now, which is the entity that is maintaining criminal surveillance, maintaining stalking me by drones, stalking me by military aircrafts that appear as stars in the sky at nightfall, stalking me under things as psychotic as a fake sun, doing so as a population that are stalking with literal audible noise. As you move, as you use your device, stalking with noise, going into the bathroom to keep your genitalia under surveillance, stalking you with noise as you are relieving yourself and using your genitalia necessarily to do so. That's beyond a sex offender, and it's a population of them that also make up the U.S. military, that are demons engaging in criminal monitoring in order to murder American citizens. That is levy war and aid the enemies outside of the United States. The enemies are here while the fake sun is present. And what the city of Upland, the Upland Public Library, the Upland City Hall, Bill Velto's not staying in office. What they are doing, the entire state of California is doing. And Gavin Newsom is not ignorant of that either. And it is entirely untenable to suggest otherwise. But science is serving to prosecute him where he's at. Okay? Because in Sacramento, and even San Francisco, in San Luis Obispo, what is over them when I'm showing you the fake sun that is here and the fake sun that is still here at 10 in the morning? There's only one sun. This is very exclusive. This is speaking to the entire state, including Gavin Newsom engaging in criminal summoning, very much apprised and aware of what it is that I'm publishing on the worldwide internet regarding criminal surveillance and the levying of war against an American citizen by the state of California in concert with the U.S. military, which shall result in what is substantial involuntary commitments of a population and federal imprisonment, deportation, loss of minor children. This is the entity that is going to be subject to also martial law. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that's mentally ill and persists in stalking in the face of a prosecution that is already complete. That's what the commercial airline companies are doing. That's what the U.S. military is doing. That's what the people of the state are doing. They're still stalking and it's already over. That's also relevant to compensation. That's also relevant to charges. That's relevant to the prosecution of the domestic terrorists, the people of the state. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:26 p.m. It is currently 7:10 p.m. where Vaughn's is engaged in targeting. Hello. Quick question. Where are your shopping carts at? There's none. That's what she just Your shopping carts are all missing?
They're outside.
Scattered? All of them?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's very peculiar.
Yeah, it's been one of those days.
Oh, okay. Thank you. This is a means of targeting. And so all I'm going to do is deflect that right back onto the terrorist. Coming to the grocery store where Starbucks is monitoring inside. Hi, Sabrina. How are you? Sabrina's monitoring. I'm good. And the entity has 0 shopping carts. Every single last one of them are unavailable. This is, again, the entity that is locking me out of the Wendy's restaurant and telling me that they didn't see me outside. The same pattern of conduct. This is domestic terrorism while a population does so on behalf of the homosexuals stalking me in military aircrafts. Okay, like I said, these are not men. And this is beyond pettiness, but pettiness that's in furtherance of murder. Pettiness by a population is not petty at all. And the entity is going to be committed and prosecuted. Hi. Is this for you or for me? Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Alrighty, this is P.O.C. Just to be clear, this is the entity that doesn't want me to go to its restaurant and buy any food there. It doesn't want me to go to the grocery store and purchase any food there. But they do want to criminally monitor me and harm me, all right? This is the entity that's not going to have it both ways. I'm going to continue living my life in the way in which I should be able to, and I'm going to prosecute based on the criminal monitoring, the terrorism that I've proven by doing, going about my life, that the entity is engaging in against me. And so that is, you thought it was funny and it was fun before you started getting documented and prosecuted for it. And so now you don't want me in your restaurants, now you don't want me in your grocery store. You just don't want me there because I'm documenting you, because you're still monitoring when I'm at the neighboring venue, when I'm in the neighboring city. This is the P.O.C. They'll understand that, and you're going to prosecute for that. It's targeting. It's equally psychologically harmful. All right? It's equally hostile. It's equally psychotic. P.O.C. It's currently 7:13 p.m. This is, again, documenting targeted harassment under the fake sun. The entity you'll see in the images is running away in a helicopter. There. Running away in a helicopter after flying over the top of my head. The co-conspiring murder is bank. Right here, co-conspiring with murder, molesting me from across the street. They're engaging in transactions. The business records, as I prosecute Bank of America, they're going to produce their own identities. They're going to federal prison. They're engaging in domestic terrorism with the entity that flew over the top of my head by helicopter right now. This is the Bank of America that is on Holt Boulevard. This is the entity that's gang stalking, where I was showing you at the Pizza Hut last night. The airport, that's the same U.S. military stalking in commercial planes where there's no takeoffs over here. No flights from the airport. This is the entity that's gang stalking with the people of the state, doing so with the demons inside of the Jessup building. These are not doctors. They're not going to remain in practice. This is why I'm subject to terrorism at this property. I've also documented the fake sun over me at this venue. This is the entity with the people of the state engaging in sexual assault and battery. And the entities engaging in what is running away. Those are the cowards, the homosexuals stalking me in military aircrafts. This is the criminal prosecution of the city of Ontario that's being prosecuted as the entity that it is, failing and sacrificing me, and instead they're going to be subject to martial law, and they're going to be broken apart with regard to the ability to engage in terrorism, meaning they are losing all access to funds. The terrorists are being defunded. So there's going to be no city hall, no police department, no fire department, no ambulance services, and they clearly don't need it. They use all of that to target me. The entities engaging in what is using the banks to engage, they're not going to have any money. They're not going to need any banks. In Bank of America, I'm going to prosecute them. Okay, they're gang stalking me at the Bank of America in Upland, the gang stalking me at the Bank of America in Ontario. And as I document the terrorists, the entities flying over and running away like the cowards that they are in a helicopter. So you would just rewind this video slow motion, because you'll see the red flasher. That's the homosexuals running away in a helicopter stalking. And they were supposed to be the ones terrifying me, and those are the ones running while I'm documenting. That's because, again, evidence that they're engaging in monitoring, because they're running away while I am documenting by cameras. And that's leaving all of them, because those are the ones, these right here, the people of the state, the government is already handled. The people of the state are going to suffer.
That's what's happening. They're being prosecuted as the enemies of the United States that they are. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9:21 p.m. This is the entity stalking by helicopter. Following. So all the license plates that I just captured, this is a group of people that are subject to federal prison. All right, this is the entity following me while I'm at the Bank of America being terrorized, as I am then walking on the sidewalk, and I'm at 320 North Euclid Avenue documenting license plates. They're subject to prison. Their co-defendants are still gang stalking. Every license plate that I document represents the people of the state that are subject to federal prison. I'm going to publish their license plates and this video speaking to the context regarding what the prison is about, what that prison term is, the criminal act that they committed with the U.S. military that's engaging what is repeatedly following me. And they're doing this after I laughed at them for running away, because that's exactly what you see on video. These cowards, these homosexual predators are running away, and then what do? They come back and return, and what are you winning? Prison for stalking in helicopters and mental institutions being committed. That's the prize for coming back to trying to prove that you weren't running away and you were running away. And the prize is you're being committed. These are demons, but I want to be clear. The people of the state are suffering. They're going to prison for what they're doing with the U.S. military. And I documented license plates while they're engaging in what is stalking and molesting with light activity. They're doing so while they are represented by all the license plates around. And I'm documenting them while the people of the state are committing the crime as an entity. That entity is being prosecuted, and this is relevant for what is federal prison, P.O.C. It is currently 9:54 p.m.